We are back from Starladder iLeague Star Series Season 2 for our Best of 5 Grand Finals, which is now even one apiece, 1-1 Na'Vi Team Secret, keyed by a virtuoso performance for the ages from Dendy on his Invoker, orchestrating multiple Secret team wipes on the steps of the Na'Vi base to bring his team back from the brink of defeat. I'm going to bring in our four-man panel, and we've changed things around a little bit here for game number 2 post-game. We've got Korean Barbecue joining us once again, but now it's Draskell and Merlini to give you guys analysis. Guys, what can we say about that game?
All right, so obviously Dendy played a phenomenal game. I don't think there's anything taking away from it, and that's after a pretty awful laning phase, I might add. He was behind, 20 CS at some point.
Is Ursa supposed to dominate that lane that hard?
I actually think that in that lane, he's probably not going to lose super hard, but he shouldn't do as well as he did. Maybe it's 50-50, maybe slightly favoring the Invoker, but obviously Artur was kind of feeling himself in the laning phase, and sometimes you just outplay your opponent. But besides that, I feel the Disruptor did an amazing amount of work this game, because every single time, Secret are pushing that bottom lane over and over again. You saw these retreats, you saw the glimpses back on 2 times in a row when that Ursa had Aegis. He gets glimpsed back, he dies twice, his team is forced back, Track Gold comes into play, and they just made a gigantic comeback based on, it's not really that they had good high ground defense per se, it's that once Secret has to run, they lose way too much.
Just unreal performance by Dendy there. 23k hero damage on the Invoker after just getting set back so much in his lane. It looked like, as in game 1 with the Timbersaw, it just looked like he wasn't going to have a Dendy-esque influence on this game.
I mean, it's true, but at the same time, we talked about the drafts in the first game and saying how Na'Vi were the ones who kind of had to force their advantage and try to play as fast-paced as they possibly could. This game, it was different because of the TB, and that's why I liked the pick. Obviously, Bounty Hunter played into some effect after the fight started going favorably for them, but Na'Vi just seemed to be, they're executing better. They're getting better at drafting and forcing the enemy team into an uncomfortable position, and I think that's really what you need to do to win a best of 5.
Yeah. There's a bit of a role reversal this game. We talked about the onus being on who to control the game and win. It was a little bit the other direction this game. You have Ursa, who doesn't necessarily farm that well, and Na'Vi didn't get that much out of their Bounty Hunter, maybe in terms of getting those kills early on. Maybe you want TB to be split pushing by himself while your other heroes are controlling the map. But in the end, when they were winning those team fights, that Bounty Hunter really paid off, and they weren't able to, kind of a 4-core aggressive early lineup, bullying the lanes from Secret. They weren't able to get online and do what they needed to. There was a window where they went into the base a couple times. That fight ended up getting dragged to the fountain, but
twice.
Ultimately not
and
the objectives.
And he lived, right? The first time this happened, Blue Aegis in the middle of the fountain, and due to false promise was able to get out. That was unbelievable, and at that point it looked like Secret were just going to run all over them inside their own base. One of the issues that I saw with the TB pick, since you brought that up, the Mirana had Aghanim Scepter relatively early, had that E-Blade up relatively early, and there were several fights in the mid-game. She just jumped right on top of the TB and burst him down with spell damage.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of damage coming in from the Mirana, but I think the bigger liability in this game is actually the Ursa, the later the game goes, because the Invoker, look at how badly Ice Wall destroys him in this fight. He simply cannot do anything, and there's no mobility items except for 1 Force Staff on Puppy on Secret to help him get out. I just don't see how the Ursa was supposed to play around these engagements, because most of the time he's just walking around not hitting anything. It's been 10 seconds and he hasn't hit a single hero.
I think a lot of it is because they didn't give Eternal Envy a tower hitting hero. Usually he does play that role that hits the towers, like Morphling that we've seen before, Terrorblade. These are the kind of heroes that they need.
Drow.
But yeah, Drow Ranger, sieging the high ground was their downfall. And Secret's lineup, I think, would cope very well with Na'Vi when it came to dealing with team fights outside of the base, but there are a couple things that this Oracle Abbott, that's the ultimate defensive duo when it comes to helping your cores out, but you can't do anything versus Glimpse actually, which is pretty unusual for a single target spell, and Invoker just does so much AoE damage and disable that they can't help everyone out. So normally it's amazing when they had the Slaughter, when they had Lifestealer, when they had a Bat Rider in the other game. These two worked out, and Na'Vi kind of fell into that draft. They drafted a Slaughter into that. This game they drafted much more AoE damage and heroes that those two heroes do not counter.
Yeah, I really like that Draskell brought up the Ice Wall usage from Dendy. I thought first of all, I think that's probably Invoker's most underrated spell, period. And Dendy's zone fights with that so incredibly well. And as to what you're saying, Ben, I think just the way that spells scale in Dota 2, most spells scale as a fixed amount, and as much damage mitigation as Secret had, eventually you get to the point where the Terrorblade right-clicks throughout the fight, the Invoker spell combos, they just do enough damage to get through all of that.
Even the reflection was a problem too. There was just no mobility in the team fights, unless they got a Culling Blade off. But that was pretty rare.
Yeah,
in
that's
the later
why
halves of the game.
it goes back to the bounty pick and why I like it so much for Navi's style is because they clearly have the individual skill to outplay. So if you give yourself an advantage and just having track speed and whatnot during the engagement, these melee heroes, like Ursa especially, just become very difficult to get damage through. Like, how is he going to stick on anyone? Like, during this fight, he's looking for an opportunity to go in, but the Invoker spells are just constantly keeping him at bay. Like, as soon as he goes in, they had Lasso for him, they had a Deafening Force as BKB, they drag him back towards the tier 4s, and at that point, you have to commit to the fight.
Yeah, and again, as you guys were saying, notice the ice wall just on top of the Disruptor ult at the beginning of that fight, and it's going to be another just costly commit for Secret inside the Na'Vi base. They didn't just, at the end of the day, because of what you guys said, having EE on Mirana, they didn't really have enough tower damage to be able to stand there and hit the buildings of Na'Vi. They had to commit to these fights.
I mean, that's the biggest issue with Ursa in general, is he's always been that hero who snowballs super hard but can never transition into tier 3s. That's the issue for sure. So maybe it is the Mirana-Ursa pairing that was a bit of a problem. I still feel like Secret could have won this game if they just executed a tiny bit better and didn't get kind of pulled into the base way too far, like multiple times.
That's what I was going to ask you guys. This is obviously it was a thrilling game, and with all due respect to Miracle, of course, I think this was the best Invoker play that I've seen all year long at the professional level. Thing is, Na'Vi needed every bit of it to come back
absolutely.
in this game. I really, the series is tied up. Our best of five, the old expression, right? The best of 5 becomes the best of 3. But Na'Vi needed so much just to keep themselves in this game. It's hard not to be optimistic about Secret's chances.
But sometimes that's kind of how your lineup works. I mean, if Na'Vi can put themselves in a situation where Secret are feeling pressured, then anytime you can passively pressure a team, they are prone to making more mistakes. And those mistakes in this game just happen to be pushing high ground too aggressively, Artor getting lassoed a few times, being pulled into a bad fight. And, in Dota, sometimes it's only a couple of mistakes that can lose you a game. So it's maybe Team Secret, they played like a best of 100. Secret would probably win most games,
Sure.
but it's a best of 5. So I think that Na'Vi, they showed that they can definitely pull it out.
And so I wanted to ask you, Jack, because you brought this up earlier. Na'Vi flipped the script on Secret relative to what we've been seeing so far in this tournament, where Navi's usually the early and mid-game team. They were the ones that drew the game out and were successful. What's your gut say? Is this a viable strat for Na'Vi if Secret is going to go with these niche drafts?
I think it's exciting to see from them. I think they kind of anticipated the direction Secret were going to go because they banned out the Lifestealer. And ultimately, the Ursa pick does a lot of the same things that the Lifestealer does with a lot of the same weaknesses in terms of scaling and AoE. And so I think once they saw the Axe, they thought that there was going to be this heavy pressure kind of mid-game lineup. And so I think if you're Secret, you think, well, we could have executed, we still could have won that game. But ultimately, maybe next time with that last pick, we go a little bit greedier and still put the onus back on Na'Vi to be able to control the game. And they should feel more confident playing that way that we've seen in these series, in this matchup that they've had with each other recently.
I think another thing that could also benefit them is not having Pilot Eye be so poor every game. Like, he can do a lot with like 2,000 and 3,000 net worth. Imagine if he had a Blink Dagger this game. Like, then RTZ doesn't get in a bad position where he can get glimpse back, and maybe the Bat Rider can't jump him a few times because he can blink out or has the luxury of blinking in. And usually it works out for them, but it's nice to have items on Oracle.
And here you're going to see the finishing team fight where Na'Vi just have all that they need at this point. They group Secret up in a ball. They're able to drop all their spells on top of the fight. And the damage mitigation of Secret, which looked so effective for most of the game, it's just not enough to stand up in these ultra late game fights. It's funny, we had a laugh toward the end of the game when Seneco's Bounty Hunter picks up a full AC. And that item alone is worth like 1K at least more than Pylai Dai's full net worth.
Yeah.
So I agree. One of the things you've seen, we've talked about it on many of these panel segments over the last couple of metas with TP scrolls, wards being cheaper, supports are getting a lot more. They're getting a lot more utility items like Glimmer Cape. Pi isn't accumulating farm and getting those sort of tools to contribute in the late game.
It's okay. I mean, it's a trade-off, right? Puppy gets a lot. He had like Crimson Guard very, very early, but they weren't able to break base with that. And I think thinking about long term and 40, 50 minutes in the game, you want him to have some sort of accumulation.
A little bit odd to you that that there was was there a pipe built on Secret?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Yeah, that was one thing that stood out. But like you say, they had so many damage mitigation devices anyway. I don't know if you need it.
Just having a Baden with Aghanims usually is enough.
Yeah.
I think that there is something to say about Oracle not having that much net worth, but like Ben said, it's the trade-off that you make because you have this like really greedy off lane because both heroes want farm, right? And Sam went for a Midas as well. So they knew that they were going to be sacking Pilot die. It's just a matter of not hitting the proper timing. They needed to be able to end the game maybe like 10, 15 minutes before. And there was a stage in that game where Na'Vi, like Dityarod, just had nothing in comparison to the triple core, if you want to call it that, of Secret. So execution-wise, I think Na'Vi definitely outplayed them. I'm not entirely sold on if Na'Vi's draft was better, but if they can kind of force them into that awkward position again, I think they can take another game.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. We knew coming into this series, Na'Vi arguably displaying the most consistent level of execution throughout the tournament, but this kind of an individual performance, certainly the performance of the tournament for me thus far.
It's clear that yesterday was just an off day for Na'Vi in terms of a little bit of draft issues, a little bit of play issues, and today they have everything fixed.
I don't know. I'm not as confident as I'd like to be for Na'Vi going into these last potential 3 games, and I want to see the series go to all 5. I think that they might have gotten even a little bit outdrafted there again in game 2, but they just had enough execution to carry them through.
I think it's the bounty mainly in that game. Like we talked about the synergy of like the Disruptor and the bounty together, and the ability to punish so hard whenever Secret makes a mistake. Like that's the biggest part, because if you don't get those bonus kills and the tracks on top of it, then you're not going to get enough, even if you get like the picks, because they were forcing buybacks, right?
Yeah.
Like Dendy had to buy back once. I forget who bought back the other time, but there was 2 engagements where they were pushing, and they had to commit a lot just to be able to get a couple of kills. And to make support kills worth it, you need bounty. Otherwise, if you don't kill the core as a Secret, then you're kind of still just wasting income, and maybe they still get far enough ahead to be able to just siege high ground based on them having a huge net worth lead.
Also not a bad performance by General. Once again, as we talked about yesterday, they just had a ton of Batrider counters, and he was able to go that drums build, focus more on the early damage dealing over time rather than the lasso.
It's such a hard game for Bat. Like, you don't want to play Bat against multiple dispels. There's no way that was a fun game for him, but he still made it work. I would say his lassos pulling back behind the Ancient and whatnot were probably one of the biggest factors in why they were able to stay in the game and ultimately turn it around. So obviously there was some team play there because there was multiple force staffs and whatnot. Everyone was on the same page, but they knew exactly, he especially knew, like, his lasso target every single time. Same thing.
Yeah, that was something that our casters commented on that I really liked as well, was the choice to go multiple force staffs rather than the Ghost Scepters against the Ursa. Sort of shut down that Diffusal Blade counter that we've seen in other games.
Yeah, Diffusal Blade's super common on Ursa. I think he still bought it, right? After he had Basher, BKB, Blink, he went for the Diffusal anyway. But that's kind of when Ursa hits his peak, right? Like, after that point, he doesn't really get any stronger. Like, sure, you can get an Abyssal Blade, but Force Staff's still going to counter the item, and it costs, like, what, 1/3 as much? So I don't really see how he's going to hit any bigger of a power spike than he got to in that game. It's just simply put, their lineup didn't hit its timing.
It may require a different build, though. Like, we saw the Faceless Void go Vanguard first against the Chen and multiple creeps. Like, this game, if you're going to get Kaido a lot, you can just go tank and...
Yeah, but does that really solve their problem? Because what happens when you just get, like, tornadoed and deafening, there's an ice wall down, there's reflection slow. It's like, if they want to play that style and tank him up, they need an Omni instead of an Abaddon, because they need a way to make him magic immune. So that way the ice wall doesn't matter, the tornado doesn't matter, and that way, the Ursa can actually stick on a target. Then I would be okay with him building tank, but in this game, he needed to be able to lock down and get kills.
Yeah, that's true. He used his ulti. He used the damage reduction from Enrage really well in a lot of the fights. When the Meteor just got dropped on top of him, he just pressed R and negated most of the damage. But he's still being disabled. He's still being kited around due to the presence of the Ice Wall.
Yeah, that's a good point. They became too dependent ultimately on Axe for control if they wanted to put out any damage in those fights. And so the alternative to that drafting-wise is to have someone who can just stand in front and hit towers so that they can have to come to you instead of the other way around. But ultimately, again, they did have a chance to win that game. And so just a little bit more crisp maybe on the execution.
Yeah, I mean, we're honestly picking apart like very, very small details of the game, because when you're at like such a high level, and like I said, I feel like both these teams are playing, TI caliber right now. They definitely are doing very well. So it just becomes like these very tiny decisions, or maybe if we pushed at this time instead of a couple of minutes later, it would have worked, or that can be all the difference in the world.
Yeah, I mean, you look at you think about those replays that we looked at earlier, and if there's one of those fights where Dendy doesn't get 3 heroes with a tornado or puts an ice wall down at the wrong angle, Secret's able to win the game. I mean, they had multiple fights where if they even had traded evenly, they get a set of racks.
I think this is the only game that I really feel like Na'Vi have a draft advantage going in. Like they played the Batrider very well this game despite multiple counters, and it's clear that Secret want to ban out the Wisp and a Sand King every time. So like they want to do ban out the Wisp Sand King and then have to deal with another Bat and have to draft those same things and potentially lose with a similar draft, or do they just ignore the Batrider? Do they take it for themselves? So I feel like it's one of the few times that normally it's like, oh, we have to ban out Puppy's ET, or we have to worry about the Drow Ranger if you're against Secret.
Yeah, and that's maybe that's a good kind of question for Secret going in. We've talked over and over again about the number of different strategies that Secret's displayed here, but Elder Titan, which has been so good for them throughout the tournament and did so much work in game one, they let it go untouched throughout the entire draft.
Again, I think it's just a trap for Na'Vi.
Okay.
Like they're either forcing him to ban it or they're forcing it to pick it themselves. But the thing is, Na'Vi weren't falling for it in the last game. And I also think that's a huge advantage because if you know that the enemy team knows you don't play a hero and they're ignoring it because they want to either bait you into picking it or banning it, then you just also ignore it. That's the best way, right?
Yeah.
Because then no one's getting it. You don't have to worry about playing against it. You don't have to worry about wasting a ban. And that way you can stick to your comfort zone. And sometimes the hero just gets phased out because of that reason alone.
It's a fantastic point, and that's partly why I enjoy these high-level drafts so much. It's the mind games have a huge impact on the drafts that go on, and that's why we were talking earlier about the evolution of the meta within a best-of-5 series. That's a big part of it.
And the other part, too, is the last game, don't forget, they banned Void as well.
Yep.
So the Void and the ET partnership could be why they didn't want to value it as highly that game, and it could be the reasoning as to why Na'Vi are more okay just leaving it completely, alone. Just we're not going to ban it second phase, we're just leaving it in the pool. The other thing, too, is I think they showed Oracle, what was it, second or third?
Yeah, it was second pick.
Yeah, so once you see the Oracle, I think AT is far less likely. So yeah, they didn't really have any worries that game, I think, about the Elder Titan.
That's true. That would make for a bit of an awkward support pairing.
They're going a different direction with the bans this game. I think they're kind of saying, you know what, we're taking out an anti-bat hero early on, but if you end up banning the Sand King again, you'll have to face a Drow strategy or something like that. So different direction here in the draft for Na'Vi.
I kind of like it, though, because I feel like if General can still have a decent game on a bat against that team, then you give him, he obviously he can still get Beastmaster as well. Those are probably like his two best heroes right now, I would say. And you just leave yourself open for him having a standout performance. Because as much as we praised Dendy during the last game, you still have to keep in mind that General, in a very, very hard back game, he still delivered.
I do like the Darkseer ban in spite of the fact that it's a little unusual to ban a hero after you've banned something that counters it. But at the same time, after that last game, as a drafter, I'm thinking maybe Secret want to go back to some comfort heroes.
Well, they're dipping into reserve time right now. The heroes still left are, Sand King, Drow Ranger, Bat Rider, I think are the main three in consideration right now. And
yeah,
Secret,
that you ban against Na'Vi, for sure.
But Secret don't play Sand King that often, so that makes me think that they want to probably ban that a little bit more. Boba, they can easily take Bat Rider first phase, and I think get away with it.
I think that Secret plays Sand King, but the problem is the position that they would play the Sand King in, because I think that maybe Sam, he hasn't played it too much. I know Puppy plays Sand King for sure.
Yes.
But I don't know how they would be able to run it. That's the problem. So, yeah, it's just going to be the Sand King.
So now Bat Rider, Drow Ranger, although Na'Vi tend to not like the Drow Ranger as much as other teams.
Yeah, it's always looked to me like Na'Vi prefer to play against it than pick it themselves. But Na'Vi is going to be the ones taking the Faceless Void off the table this time.
It's a nice approach because, again, it's ignoring like the quote-unquote meta of the tournament, right? And it's just the finals meta, as in if you want to pick a Drow strat now, we're already putting pressure on you by having the Faceless Void. We know our team fight is going to be really strong regardless of what we get. There's a ton of heroes left in the pool that we can pair this with. It's ambiguous. Maybe they don't like the Shadow Demon as much, but to be honest, I don't think either of these teams, maybe Secret a little bit more than Na'Vi, they don't always gravitate towards it right away.
Well, there's the Drow that you guys were calling for.
I think they need the Bat Rider now, actually, to protect the Drow Ranger. Otherwise, like without the Oracle, they'll have to rely on like maybe a Shadow Demon, I think, to save, or Avenge. Actually, I don't know.
They could go
That doesn't
Dazzle.
sound that bad.
Puppy's gone Dazzle, I think, more often than those other heroes. But yeah, it's a good point because you don't want Bat and Void on the other team unless General's going to be playing Void. But I think they have been experimenting a bit with the safe lane Void as well, right? I think Ditch has played it before.
Forgot about the Murano.
Yeah,
Was first pick last game.
They're going to take the Mirana, taking away one of the very strong opens alongside the Faceless Void. But again, the Bat Rider's still on the table for Na'Vi.
There's like a million good pairings with Void now. I don't think it's
true.
necessarily about getting just the Mirana.
ET, Invoker, I think they're all fine
I
heroes.
still gravitate toward the Mirana only because of its versatility in the first phase. You can run it in all three lanes.
I've seen Secret run this kind of lineup a bunch of times. They often pair it with like a Tide and something, and they can find a really early opening to push and make it hard to team fight into them. Kind of the whole we're going to be hitting towers while you have to fight into a Ravage. And so we'll see if they go that direction this time.
I wouldn't be shocked to see Navi second phase ban that hero.
I think Void's already decent versus the Tide,
I think they counter each other to some degree, but it's more
Yeah.
about when you have a Void and you're playing against Tide in a heavy push strat, if your Chronosphere isn't always on point, you just instantly lose the fight and then you lose buildings. And I think it's too risky, in my opinion, to play against. This is a nice counter. We saw it, I think, once or twice before so far here. And it's obviously really good against the push. You can stop it. You deep push very well with Splinter Blast. It's very good control.
Navi ran it, Seneko in particular ran it against Team Secret in their last series in the second game, and it looked like it was really, really good against a Drow strat again in that game, but our Artusi Storm in the late game was just a little bit too mobile. He was able to stay out of those curses.
I wonder if Secret actually want to maybe think about running a support Mirana or offlane Mirana even and go for the Storm Spirit again, because I think you need a hero to address that Winter Wyvern. I guess maybe if Mirana gets really farmed, then you can actually burst through the Cold Embrace. And the last game that we saw the Winter Wyvern, they didn't actually have any physical damage, but maybe it's a little bit different.
Yeah, I'd worry a little bit about the Storm Spirit against the Void, not only with the Chronosphere, but again, the same time dilation that proved so effective against the Timbersaw in Game 1.
But there's still Shadow Demon available for Secret too. I think Shadow Demon's also pretty, is all right for both these heroes. Really good with Mirana and can be decent at saving the Storm Spirit, so they can always fall back on that.
Yeah, I'm more okay with SD now that I've seen the Wyvern pick, because Wyvern is like, yeah, you can walk from lane to lane in Arctic Burn or whatever, but it's not one of those heroes that you normally see being super active and getting kills or anything, so the SD you could probably get away with.
And it's really good versus Faceless Void in lane. Pai has had a lot of success in zoning out Faceless Voids early or just messing with his farm.
Yeah, and that is one of maybe the potential weaknesses with Navi in their drafting is that their support hero pools are very, very differentiated. When you see a support pick like a Wyvern or a Chen or a Bounty Hunter, you know exactly which one of their supports are going to be playing it. You have a pretty good idea of what their approach is going to be.
I feel like Navi are setting themselves up for a bet. Like, look at their bans. Like, they just take away Dazzle and Venge. Like, clearly they're defensive supports and saves for the Dro, but I mean, that pretty much only leaves SD if they want to go the defensive route here. But knowing Secret, they could have something else in mind.
Yeah, I think you were mentioning it before the series, Draskell. It's just calling what Team Secret is going to pick in this tournament has been nigh impossible.
I mean, sometimes you can kind of get a general idea of what they want to do. It's just how they accomplish the same goal is very different from a lot of teams. Okay, so we'll be the SD. It was like the only defensive hero left besides like Abaddon or Omni if they wanted to do that.
Oh, and it's been pretty common for Navi throughout the tournament to pick up one of the supports in the first phase, and then very often the art style support with their third pick. And we're going to see an Enchantress here again, just like the Chen pick that we talked about in the first game. They will run this in the jungle, but they'll also run it in an aggressive dual lane.
Yeah, they haven't been that afraid of Drows, and one of the reasons why is, again, they put one of these aggressive jungle heroes up there in your safe lane and start running behind your tower. And so we'll see if Secret drafts to deal with that.
Wow. And this is, again, you can't argue with the Dazzle and Venge bans if you're planning on picking the bat yourself, but it is going to leave this just devastatingly effective support duo in the pool for Team Secret.
I mean, there's not really anything great to pair it with, but I guess on its own, it's still like very good for deep push. You can slow down the tower sieges and whatnot that Navi are going to be bringing to bear. And this is like classic Navi where they take their jungler in the second phase after they see like one weak support. And I just hope that art style can have like, the early game that he's looking for. I still would like to see Bat, actually, from Navi.
Yeah, Bat does make a lot of sense with what Navi has gone for so far.
I mean, then it offers you like multiple ways of starting fights. You can just put General in the off lane, have Enchantress up there. Like, the lane that Team Secret have can't really kill a Void ever. And then you can just pick safe lane, ditch or raw, whatever you want. If you want to go back for the Terrorblade again, or you want to go back for something else that's maybe a little bit more proactive in the mid game. Like, even Navi themselves have run Ursa in the past. And it's a hero.
Yeah, there's still a Beastmaster or maybe even a
that's a good
Timbersaw
point
of their
too.
own.
Yeah, Beast is still in the pool.
Oh, we're gonna see one of
so-
the true classics. This will be a Dendi Magnus mid.
This seems more likely a farming Void then, right? After seeing
Can be
the map.
either way. They've easily run it in the offlane. I forgot who did they pair the Magnus and the Void with last time?
Enigma.
No, the safe laner.
Oh.
Who was the safe laner? Maybe it was a lifesteal. I think it was a lifesteal that they ran it last time. I don't know if you want it this time versus Team Secret though. Other options are Anti-Mage, very common pairing with Magnus, although not that great versus SD, and I also don't think it's particularly great versus the Drow Ranger. We've seen Ember Spirit sometimes
What about
too.
Medusa?
Medusa, I think
slow?
it's less so for their team just because I think they actually want a hero that can cleave with the Magnus. Although I think it's a fine pairing.
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit less so for Navi. I guess the Irapa has played the Medusa now and then, so I wouldn't be too surprised. But
There's a couple good gap closers left in the pool. Maybe something like a Slark, potentially even like a Juggernaut or something.
yeah, Juggernaut I would like a lot more than a Slark. I think
Jug
Slark,
is the standard, right?
yeah, Jug is standard. I wouldn't mind Jug or Ember. Because I think you also want a hero that can deal damage in the Chronosphere, and I think Ember fits that a lot more than the other melee heroes.
So Secret will take out the Slark, and once again, Secret will have the last overall pick. Still a bit of a potential for a twist at the end, as Bulba could take over the Mirana or Elder Titan in the offlane, but probably going to be an offlaner coming out from Team Secret, whereas Na'Vi need their carry for Ditya.
No, they
Well, yeah, it could be a safe
banned
lane
Razor.
void.
Yeah.
Ember Spirit.
Yeah, there's
Okay.
Ember. Ember Mag. This is also a ridiculously good high ground defending team here from Na'Vi. And I don't know if Team Secret have the late game secured enough right now.
I think you actually need to. You have to fight. You have to push early versus Ember Mag. Winter Wyvern faces Void. Like, once it goes late game, these heroes destroy BKBs, mass armor, like team fight with refresher. It like really doesn't matter. I think like you'll have it in the bag if you're Na'Vi and it goes past 45. It's just incredibly difficult.
Secret
to
can
stop.
still come back with.
There's
Okay,
the
so they
balance.
are going to come back with the traditional offlaner. We talked about the Tide and his potential matchup versus the Void. All right, Jack Draskell, really quick, final thoughts. Who do you think takes this one?
I hope we see some Ember Magnus that we saw from Secret last year with the Rapier, but right now, I like Secret's lineup.
I'm actually going to say that Na'Vi have put Secret in the same spot they were in Game 2. I'm going to say Na'Vi has the better draft.
All right. Ben, what do you think here? I like this Secret lineup a lot, but this just feels to me, this lineup from Na'Vi feels like it fits their classic formula, and it always also gives them a lot of potential to scale going into the late game.
I favor Secret just because Drow Ranger. Drow Ranger's consistently been winning games. They lacked a tower hitter last game. I think that was the missing piece, and now they found the solution to the puzzle.
Okay, very even draft. I'll go with Na'Vi. Ben's going to go for Secret. With that, our series is tied 1-1. One of these teams is looking to take control in Game 3. Throw it over to LD and WinteR for our cast.
Thank you, Alan. That's right. Ready to go, WinteR. Game 3. Who's it going to be?
Navi. Ditya Ember.
Didn't sound very confident, but you reluctantly say Na'Vi.
I reluctantly say Navi. Don't put stuff in my mouth, you know. I don't.
Anyway, so Secret running the Bulba Tidehunter here. They are getting the Drow again. Their dire side. Why Na'Vi? It seems like a lot rests on Artstyle's shoulders this game to me.
As usual, the early game is always on their supports. And we have seen time and time again when they have Enchantress, they always are able to take control of the laning phase. And SD is not the best of okay. They're going to get a Disrupt. This should be first blood.
Oh, Saneko, far away from home. And he will die. The last hit going to Arteezy here.
Granted to RTZ. Everyone stop attacking.
What teamwork.
What teamwork. I am always going to grant you a kill if I gank someone.
Thank you, friend. Secret. dropping
Only
up.
if you carry me later.
I can't promise that. I'll take the kill. I'll do my best. So Na'Vi here, like, if it, let's say it does go a bit later on, both these lineups have some potential to scale. Do you think Na'Vi just straight up wins late game?
Na'Vi
We've seen
wins.
Drow being a lot stronger in the late game than she
Not
used to be.
against Empower, Ember Spirit. No, I don't think so.
No chance. Okay.
And they have Chrono. So I think their late game is just like, there's Curse as well. So overall their late game is very strong. So I don't really think that Secret wants to go late game. Maybe at tops 35 minutes, 40 minutes, but anything apart more than that is not very good for them.
So we do see Arteezy with, I guess I'm going to almost call it his patented move now, just starting with the TP and, you know, getting there in time to block the creep wave so his supports are free to do other things. Does crit that bounty rune, off to a good start here. Top lane, we are seeing General on the Void, but he's up against a tri-lane for now.
This lane is really bad for him.
Is there, how much kill potential is there in this lane?
Yeah, but he's not going to be able to get like farm in the lane against those heroes. He has to wait for Enchantress to head over with the creep. And if you look at, if
There's
I'm
an
not
observer
mistaken,
to scout it.
there's a sentry blocking the camp as well.
Yes,
Yep.
I believe it is in the box.
This is really important. I don't see teams do this enough against Na'Vi. when they have the Enchantress or Chen. You need to block the camp near the offlane, and Magnus is gonna.
Oh, Denvi taking a beating here by Arteezy, who already used the arrow. Not going to go for it just yet. Setting up. But yeah, every art style Enchantress and Chen game I've seen, it's always the offlane he goes to.
Yeah.
He doesn't really pressure mid anymore. He hasn't been pressuring the safe lane. It's always the offlane.
Most of the Enchantress champions in the current patch, even DJ does the same thing on Fnatic. They prioritize on helping the offlane in most situations because it just allows the offlaner, like, for example, like a Void. If the Chen or Enchantress is not here, he's not going to be able to get farm or get experience. But when the Chen and Enchantress is here, it's going to allow him to get some farm and some experience. And it's going to help him a lot in the game later.
So looking at the Radiant safe lane now, how do you see this lane developing with the Ember Spirit matched up against the Tide? No help for DRA for the time being. Bulba's going to get a lot of farm here.
I mean,
it looks
he's always getting sacked a lot. Ember against Tide is fine. He's not going to get pressured too much by the Tide, but Tide is going to get farm because it's a 1v1 matchup. Courier going down. Mr. Soneko, the Courier sniping king.
This guy, he must have like the highest average courier snipes per game of any tier 1 player. It's ridiculous how often he kills it off.
Pielider used to be that as well, like when he picked Bounty Hunter.
He doesn't get those heroes anymore, but this might cost them heavily here, WinteR. Soneko's in quite far. The arrow's not going to connect, but Puppey giving him the old staple gun, and now the Wyvern's been brought down.
He's
very low. Could maybe
he might
deny to
suicide.
neutrals.
Yeah, he might suicide to neutrals.
He
And
can maybe embrace again.
even if he dies here, it's worth it. He
Eats
draws.
the tree. No one else coming in, and there's no mana for the combo for Puppey here. Is maybe going to get hit one more time, but Soneko with the boots going to make it out. Instead, they'll turn the other way. They're going to look for Artstyle, the Enchantress, but General's here to support. They'll chase after Pielider. The time walk through, pretty good position there by General. Just looking for a bash. He does have it skilled up, and not even required. Rejoining the fray, Soneko not only nets his team a courier kill, but also a hero kill as well.
Gosh. He didn't even leave the fight. He was just nearby to even help his team get the kill there. Some miscommunication from Secret there. Like Pielider wanted to use the disrupt to kill the Enchantress, so Puppey was not in there to actually land his storm. Otherwise, they would have netted the kill onto Artstar.
They're all doing pretty well here despite being sacked. 13 and 4 versus the Tide. Bulba only 11 and 4.
I mean, it's an okay lane for him as long as he uses the Flame Guard every time it's up to get CS and to zone the Tide away. And Tide at the same time, once the Flame Guard is down, he should be able to get relatively easy CS with his Anchor Smash.
They have seen art style though. Pielider with a clever ward around the tree line. Can they do much about it though? Puppey's off near the mid lane right now. Looks like they want to contest Dendy. Well, sidestep the Arteezy arrow. And now popping that Invis in as he looks to retreat. Not seeing the double empower skill build this time around from, I think it was Sumail earlier in the tournament who did that.
He was jungling early in the game because he couldn't lane.
Yeah.
That was not a good game for his Magnus. That game was very difficult for them. So right now Soneko all the way towards the bottom lane to maybe set up a kill on the Ember.
This ward is doing work though already. Sees all the Enchantress's movements, gives Puppey a reason to go up there. But meanwhile, Bulba in the bottom lane gets clipped by the chains. They continue to emulate him. DRA trying to play with the tower range, but it's top lane where they start to converge on General. He salved up. He's waiting for the cooldown here. On that time walk, about 5 seconds to go. The Spirit will come back, and in come the Enchantress creeps. Artstyle getting hit a little bit. Pielider trying to work on him with the poison, but the bash, very timely from General, secures the kill. Artstyle might even make it out. He barely falls here, but another bash onto Envy, looking for more. If he gets one more bash, he might get this kill too with the creeps cooldowns soon to come. But I'll not risk it with the Shadow Demon respawn being so low. Still though, the pressure is on Envy. 23 CS, still doing well here, but he may struggle if they keep it up. Meanwhile, bottom onto Bulba again. Soneko working together with DRA to force Pielider that way, and this does free up that top lane if Artstyle wants to go there. As the slow from the Wyvern comes through, DRA into the trees, but the poison's going to give them the vision they need, and now the disruption follows it up. Another poison. There's the embrace, the Ravage committed. Bulba says, screw you, man, and takes him down. DRA will drop. Very nice usage of the early Ravage there by Bulba. And good rotation by Pielider to score a kill.
Yeah, that was a really, really big kill on the enemy team's carry there. Turning that gank around towards their favor. So very well played by Secret. Good rotation once more.
Yeah, fast level 6 as well, with nobody to share the experience with for Bulba.
So right now, Enchantress, let's see whether he moves back towards the Void's lane with the creep. Hand of Midas.
Naked even. It's always an early grab for Artstyle and Puppey, but normally not this early.
I mean, if you think about their game plan, they want to draw the game super late. So going a Midas is playing towards that plan for them.
Oh, Dendy skewering. Arteezy back under the tier 2 tower, then RP'd him as well, but the stomp comes through. Might be able to make it out Artor, but then from the side comes the Enchantress. There's the haste pop. Did have the raindrops there to help secure his retreat, but still Dendy, he was forced to commit an RP, but he avoids the gank. And he buys time for that Enchantress to continue farming.
Yeah, Bulba meanwhile still having a great time at bottom lane despite the supports leaving him alone for the time being. Chronosphere not up yet for general, so...
The one thing I would say, WinteR, is they're very lacking on damage to put in the Chrono until later on in the game.
I mean, yeah.
They don't have that Lina or Leshrac.
Enchantress would be the one that can deal...
Yeah.
Enchantress can do a lot of damage later during the Chrono, and not to mention when Battle Fury comes online for the Ember Spirit with the Empower.
But this stage of the game will be a lot tougher as a Radiant Scan is deployed top. Trying to see if there's anyone creeping up from the side of Secret. Not the case though. The Midas is close. What's the next big timing that you look at here? We'll have the Chronosphere coming soon. The Ravage will cool down fairly in short order. Is there a particular move you're expecting from either team?
Ravage is one of them, and with the Draw Ranger acquiring her levels and her ultimate now, Secret wants to play a faster paced game since Na'Vi is much stronger in the late game.
Oh, the chains aren't going to connect here, but Bulba still getting caught out by the Shockwave. The pursuit continues. Will he be able to bring him down? No, the Flame Guard not enough. And Highlight Die looks to turn this one around. Stomp. Well, by Puppey, no, the Spirit will return. And then Dendy, after a failed rotation, now the Ravage is online. So round 2 could be a lot scarier. Bulba just very tanky.
They have to bring sentries for the Moonlight. It's the second time that someone escaped because there's no detection there. So
we saw you even last game when Secret had to deal with the Invoker, Ghostwalk, and Bounty Hunter. That later on in the game, it's hard to keep up with it. But first debut of the Moonlight Shadow, successful there.
Yep, 8-minute Midas on Artstyle.
And he applies the pressure top, but he may get punished for this. He's a slow one. Great troll trap on the way out. The arrow. Artstyle dodging bullets. This Bambi is tough to tango with. They can't quite finish him off, but the creep will be taken down. Still Arteezy had to rotate for that. Freeze up the Magnus on mid, the Ember Spirit bottom. Artstyle getting away with murder.
Well, Navi's still, like you mentioned, severely lacking in terms of damage if they want to look to set things up with the Chrono. It's not very easy for them to get any kills at the moment. Like I mentioned, Enchantress with her level 6 would be the best solution to add damage into the Chronosphere, which she's going to acquire soon.
Yeah, she's about to get that impetus. Also, we'll have the boots now, so we can actually chase a bit. We're trying to give Seneko his experience in this mid lane. We'll see if Arteezy has a fish with the arrow, but waiting for the Star Storm to cool down. So very plodding mid game now developing. But General looks to change that equation. He moves top. He does have a Chronosphere online. The board scouted his movement. But not going to die for it, just contesting the farm a bit of Puppey.
Yeah, the next thing for Secret is just to find a timing to get Roshan as soon as possible with the draw. That's going to be, I think, their most important task. And right now, Seneko...
Arteezy. Great shot there with the arrow. The DD rune and the Drow arrow. That's a lot of physical damage. Didn't even need the Star Storm.
Yep. A good pickup there by Arteezy, getting that kill. But overall, for Secret, they still have to keep playing a very fast-paced game with the Drow Ranger. They cannot allow Na'Vi to just get their levels and items, especially the dagger on the Magnus, at a good time.
Seems they agree. They're going to make their move on mid here right now. Seneko to slow Arteezy down. Maybe not actually going in, but just trying to stop this push. Tier 1, though, under siege and will be last hit by Arteezy. He jumps away. Had the Shadow Demon there to protect him on Miwa on the top lane. Other action breaking out as Dendy skewers Bulba back under tower. RP already expended, it looks like, but not even close to a kill. So they commit a lot just to hold this tower for now. And meanwhile, Secret setting up shop for kills elsewhere. Seneko disrupted into an arrow. Starstorm's there. Arteezy secures another. So this Mirana already very active, very effective. The leader in net worth, having all kinds of impact around the map. And looking for Dendi too. Has the level 2 arrow ready. Wants to zone him out, secure this tower. Ravage still available. Navi are getting pushed down hard, WinteR.
I mean, Secret are stronger right now, so unless they have their Blink on Magnus and all their ultimates up, they're not going to be able to take a fight. I think he's not that far away from his dagger on Dandy, 600 away. So before that happens, it's going to be difficult for Navi to take any fight. So Secret, fully understanding the situation, are trying to press forward to gain more advantage.
Oh, Envy. He does get the silence off here. And Bulba's quick to rotate, and Navi realizing as soon as they make a move on Envy, there will be backup. And it comes in spades.
Yeah, the other thing is Boba is also getting a mech for his team, so that it's going to allow Secret to play a much faster paced game, group up, take towers, stun onto General there, needs to land the silence.
Gets the silence on General as well, but the Era moves in. They have that Ravage, but Navi also a very elusive bunch of heroes, so you got to be careful about when you pop it.
They were anticipating that Secret were going to move into the Roshan pit right there with the draw plus the Ravage, but Secret are going to be very wary of things, and they're going to continue sieging the tier 1 at bottom.
This would be big, WinteR. Dendi getting hunted by the cat lady. He's pretty much guaranteed a double starfall here. Will Dendi at least get his blink in time? With this creep wave, he should have the gold for it. The arrow connects, just barely clipping him from around the trees. Dendi RPs, but it doesn't matter. And the blink is deferred. A huge pick again from Artur. He is really getting the job done right now for Secret.
And he's playing so well. The first game where he chose to go for Vanguard on the Void, and right now in this game once more in the first 15 minutes of the game, getting a very crucial kill for his team.
He's been all over the map, and he's still the leader in net worth with a very timely Aghanim Scepter under construction at this rate.
They're hitting their timing very soon.
He's basically got it.
Aghanim's mech on Tide and whatever items on draw, so...
Oh, this would be costly though if he goes down Remnant. Oh, they Remnant too far!
Oh my god!
They needed that so bad. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. And this time, Arteezy is both.
Man, that sucks so much. That was so close. That could have been such a huge kill after losing their Magnus, now General, trying to get revenge for his team.
This one could be as well, but there's going to be an Echo Stop coming from the north. Can Puppey turn it around?
Detection!
He gets the stomp off. Where is the vision? They actually have a sentry, but the Ravage comes around to cancel it and counter this initiation. General just says, screw it, I'm going in for Envy, but he loses the True Sight. Envy's moved out of the vision of that sentry ward, and now he gets turned on with the Frost Arrows. The Radiant Courier is sacrificed as well upon the altar of Secret, and still the Wyvern drops. Now De'Ira is on the run. And they're doing all of this before the Mirana gets into the fight.
Man,
Arteezy has arrived. It's snowballing for Secret.
This is turning into the Arteezy show on his Mirana right here. Being at the right place at the right time, escaping the gang, getting a 40-minute Aghanims. And as the mech as well on Bulba there, proving to be very crucial, keeping his carry, the Draw Ranger, alive.
Even just using the pounce there for that extra bit of attack speed.
Efficiency, Roman.
Secret wanting to take this tower down as quickly as possible. The graph plunges Secret's way.
Now they have full map control on the bottom side, the area that's very close to Roshan. Oh, General getting consolation prize. The courier on the way out.
You kill my courier, I'll kill yours, he says.
But Secret...
But he may die. Heads to the far side of the creep wave. Navi are getting a
Let's
little
blink
more,
RP though.
a little more careful. Arteezy, I believe, does have the Ags now, so he is going to be very tough to burst. You see De'Ira committing up top. He wants this tower. Is he going to come back in for it? He doesn't want to tank the aggro. He'll let Bulba get the deny.
He's
and now he
waiting for
re-engages.
Magnus. He's waiting for Magnus.
Magnus is going to be there in a moment. Denny blinks in, trying to hold on to that RP, but Bulba has the mech. He may be forced to commit it along with a skewer, or they may just not go for the kill, and appears it'll be the latter. While that's happening, bottom lane, Artstyle getting focused. Even with that extra bit of HP from the Ogre Club, it's not enough. Good combo there from Secret. Finding the kill, not even needing the disruption, and able to save it for the defensive retreat.
Man, this Mirana is just all over the place.
Only 4-0 and 2, which isn't that crazy at this stage, but it's just all been crucial kills, delaying the blink timing.
You say only 4-0 and 2, his team has 8 kills.
Yeah. it's more that they've been crucial kills that lead to towers, that, you know, delay a blink dagger. They're coming at the right time for Secret.
And this Enchantress is just food for the Aghanims on the Mirana. He needs to be able to get more items and increase his HP pool to be able to survive that in team fights. Like a Ravage with the Elder Titan Spirit next to him with the double Star Storm. He's just gonna evaporate in the team fight.
Now Puppey
So
grabbing that medallion in Secret. They do want to Roche.
yep, finally.
Got the Frost Armor creep here. Got that extra bit of armor to work with. Even though Na'Vi have all their ultimates ready, they're still lacking in the damage department. They'll look for a Puppey pickoff here, though. Blink into Skewer, good combo. Bash follow up and get the kill. Or actually, sorry, I think that was the RP. Yeah, the RP does get deployed there.
Well, this game, getting a Crimson Guard on Puppey will be extremely important. It's very good versus all the creep damage, the Ember, plus the Empower and the Battle Fury.
Yeah, the Frost Armor creep's going to help as well. So,
Yeah.
I mean, Secret, they definitely know how to deal with physical damage. We've seen that before.
Vlad's, Crimson Guard, all the team items at some point. So Aegis is going to be acquired onto RTZ right now, and Dityara still pretty far away from his Battle Fury.
It just takes a long time to get that first big item on the Ember. I mean, can Na'Vi even keep up in farm? Like, as much as they have great farming heroes, if Secret take all these outer towers.
I mean, I would say they have pretty good heroes to slow down the push. Splinter Blast plus Shockwave from Magnus, good deep push. So before the Battle Fury comes online, they're going to have those two spells to slow down the push.
TZ moves in aggressively, posting up in front. General will time walk off that initial volley of damage. Arteezy now forced to run, but the impetus is rain in. Envy gets it in there with the silence. Bulba just wrangling about on the backside, but they're trying to set up the stomp combo. They hit. The arrow won't connect, though. And now Arteezy moves in a bit deeper. The chains come through. He still has the Aegis. They don't want to lose it this early, but the Shockwave will ensure that they do. And then the Chrono gets dropped, isolating Bulba. There won't be a Ravage this fight unless that disruption is absolutely perfect. He gets it off, but still he will fall. A well-timed Sleight of Fist there, slicing up the watermelon. And now Arteezy held in position on life number 2. Do they chase for more? Another stomp from Puppey. Secret are forced to disengage.
And what a chrono there by General. And that was a very good chrono, allowing them to take down the Tide before he gets his Ravage off and locking down the other two heroes as well at the end of it.
Yeah, well-timed Sleight of Fist there as well. Didn't have a good Ravage opportunity when he came out of
That
disruption.
was a big hole. Secret were really strong with that timing and the Aegis on RTZ. So it's going to allow Na'Vi to have a lot more time to farm up even more items on their heroes.
Battle Fury. No longer a distant dream. He's getting close, has the two big components. Well on his way to the Perseverance here. If he will make their next move, it's towards top.
SD might just be dead here if he's not getting out soon.
He sticks around. Pile die. Bit too long, and they're not even going to hesitate. RP committed. Quick skewer. Pile driving him back in. Shockwave. As well as the Splinter Blast. Secure it.
Yeah, basically their ultimates right now, any pickoff they can get from it is just okay for them because they are looking to draw the game out. So any pickoff is crucial for them to have more time for the rest of the heroes to actually farm more items. In certain games you would say that you want to save the ultimates for a big team fight, get more kills with it. But in the kind of game that Na'Vi wants to play right now, it's okay for them to get any kills with all their big cooldowns.
Yeah, as long as Secret can't immediately go high ground off of it, but they were not in position to do so there. So Secret will have to slow down a little bit.
Man, they don't want to slow down with their heroes.
No, they don't have a choice, WinteR. Do you have to wait for the next Aegis at this point? Or do you think Secret can
That is
try
like
to roll the
obviously
dice?
the safest play, but I think with the lineup that Na'Vi has, they need to be able to push forward even without the Aegis. They need to be like pushing and trying to get towers and limiting where Na'Vi can farm. The other issue is like they don't have the best heroes to actually catch out a hero like Ember when he's farming. They have to land like a silence from the draw, which is not something that you want against the Ember.
I mean, I suppose later, much later, Mirana can get a Hex, but that is not a great solution.
Boba. Okay, he's not going to chase forward, so not going to find anyone there. I mean, you talk about that Hex is probably going to be
It's going to be much later.
an ultra late game item, I think.
But like you said, Drow Ranger, not reliable lockdown by any means. So Na'Vi do close in on the Battle Fury for WinteR, and that's going to be a big tipping point for them as far as pushing the lanes out goes. Puppey here in the bottom lane, going to get... Oh, doesn't get hit by the Splinter Blast, so Seneko won't follow up on that, but does usher him away. Try to hold this tier 2 as long as possible. Their Void's still off in the top side of the map. Doesn't look like Na'Vi want to defend this tower, but they are in the area. Drow Illusions just chipping away.
I mean, talking about the illusions, in the late game, they do have the Enchantress to deal with the illusions later. Can always take away the illusions from the SD or even the potential Manta style on the Drow. So they have some good ways of dealing with the illusions, not only the cleave.
WinteR. Battle Fury is basically done now. After this wave, we'll have it. And I believe they have the maximum power at this point as well.
Yeah.
So the farming will intensify unless Secret can pin Na'Vi down inside their base.
It's not like the farming that worries them the most right now. It's like the scaling. Like all the heroes of Na'Vi scale so well into the late game. So Secret has to press forward. I'm not sure if you go for the Aghanims and Maelstrom on the Drow, like we've seen in a couple of games, that how much damage can the Drow dish out later in the game? Is it going to be enough against what Na'Vi have?
I mean, that's great for like clearing Terrorblade illusions we've seen.
Yeah, not so good against man fighting, I guess, against a FV Ember lineup.
And they also just have great gap closing. Even the Mag with the Force Staff, they are going to be able to get on the Drow, and it's up to the Tide and the Shadow Demon to deal with that.
Yeah, I think Secret has to play very well in those situations to be able to come out on top. They need to outplay, outmaneuver, land their arrows and Echo Storms on crucial targets.
Bulba moves out here in the bottom lane, but Secret are coming. They're very close to the Bulba Blink, want to secure it, maybe find some kills. Dendi, the man to break the smoke. He blinks out right as the Spirit comes in, and they've also found someone else. Arteezy snipes out Artstyle, so they still get the one pick.
You know, if Artstyle was not getting ganked there, I'm sure there would be more
attentive
aware to Dendi. Yeah, Dendi being next to them. They were like most likely all looking at the Enchantress there, and Dendi pops out at the side and no one notices.
Next time, maybe Bulba with this blink will be able to catch him. The farm will continue. WinteR, 1,300 gold up. There's already a Solar Crest to deal with. A Butterfly is coming, so an early MKB may be... Well, I guess it could be the shotgun, actually, for Arteezy. I guess we'll see.
The shotgun is good versus the Chrono as well. Disruption.
See what he wants to
blocks
do.
the arrow.
Dendi blinking into the arrow.
He blocks the arrow.
But does block it. A noble sacrifice, I suppose.
I mean, he's just doing that just to save the Ember there, so making sure that his carry, his big brother there, stays alive. Or the machine, he would call him. The Ditya machine.
The tractor. He's still getting tuned up a little bit. They're not ready for full deployment, but soon those crops will be ready for harvest. If it has his way.
Yep, Secret continually to press forward with their lineup, the Drow lineup. Trying to secure another tower for their team. With the Blink Ravage, they feel really, really confident in taking the tower down. And the next Roshan is up, right? Is the Roshan up?
So it is indeed the E-Blade. Tons of magic damage now from Arteezy.
Yeah, basically after this is just to go back and secure Roshan when it spawns and proceed to high ground.
And Na'Vi are now tucked away in their own
They're
base.
expecting the Roshan maybe. They just smoked. Roshan is going to start spawning.
Secret do have a couple of reasonably placed wards here on the Na'Vi side of the map, so it's going to be tough to find a pick-off before Secret start to get itchy feet and back away. And leading with Seneko here, our Eternal Envy sees him coming. He's going to drop a ward, and the jig's already up. Bold Moonlight Shadow, they'll back away. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Arteezy hunting WinteR.
Oh, he needs a
Flame
lockdown for
Guard.
his kill. Or land his arrow.
Oh, it's a cooldown here, so they might be able to get the kill. Arrow comes through the leap. The
Oh
shotgun.
my
See
God.
ya!
What a player.
Arteezy, no hesitation, just mows him
Man,
down.
that movement towards the side of the trees to set up that arrow was perfect. That was perfect.
That was magnificent. Arteezy continuing to deliver here.
Man, he's in really, really good shape. We see a Purge onto General here. They're trying to set up a fight here for Secret.
There's the blink out, the purge damage taking on a split second too late, but still they're going to chase a bit further. Looking for art style.
They should be able to get Enchantress.
They have that Yasha move speed puppy there to cut them off. The arrow comes through. It's a slight miss. He'll TP out. He's going to force some sort of reaction. The stomp gets there in time. Then, for good measure, the disruption. So, say goodbye to your art style. And on top of that, they also sniped that Radiant Courier as it retreated. So, got a little bit of extra gold. Secret starting to add up for them. Score 5-12. Na'Vi, we've yet to really see that big combo, WinteR, that RP, Chrono, Sleight of Fist with impetuses raining down. I mean, the Wyvern, we have not seen them chain these abilities together, but they may have to soon because Secret are pushing in.
I think they should do the Roshan first. I saw a creep earlier, so I think Secret already know that Roshan is up. So, I mean, obviously that's the safest play. Secure the Aegis before you go for the high ground. There's no need to force anything right now.
I'll secure the Ancients, then secure the Aegis.
Yeah,
Ancients,
go on, man.
secured.
Ancients, towers, last hit, just a typical carry player. Take everything from the support. Take everything from the enemy team.
Yes, Starvation Dota. It's the secret way. It's not just me, you know. But now they go into the pit. We've got the Mirana there. Bulba beside him. Does Na'Vi fight into this? Can they fight into this?
If they land a good chrono, because Magnus RP,
Anything is possible. Also, what kind of detection does Na'Vi have here? They don't have a gem, do they?
they have sentries on the ground, so at the very least, they have that going for them.
Envy is far in there. He's a confident little one. That Draw Ranger going to get caught up by the chains here to start. But the Chrono comes from behind. The BKB, isolated Arteezy. Envy gets kept away from his team. He needs a little help here. Seneko gets the curse off, and it causes the carries to turn against each other. Envy's pretty tanky, but the Ips will finish him off. Arteezy now looking to turn the fight. A good RP. Sleight of Fist as well, but do they have the follow-up damage? Puppy, low, not dead yet. Brings him down and then jumps away. Can he kill Bulba on the way out? No, Arteezy will force him back. Pi, though, going to be kill number 3. The combo was solid, and Arteezy can't find that third kill. So all 3 cores surviving for Na'Vi.
There was a
Only the Mirana for Secret.
There was such a manly play there. I'm not sure if that was intended. He just ran up the ramp there.
Leading with the Drow, you mean?
Yeah, leading with the draw was rather like bold from Envy. He wanted to give his team vision so they can understand whether they should Ravage or follow up with an Elder Titan Stomp. But then Na'Vi follow up with a very good chrono, like general block off the ramp, so no one could actually run up to actually assist the Drow Ranger, which was caught up alone.
I think he was just banking on, like, even if I get caught, I just BKB here, and then they Ravage and or Disrupt to save me.
I mean, the other thing was during the BKB time, he got cursed. He was the main cursed target, and RTZ was around him. So most of the time on the BKB were wasted, and RTZ laying on him at the same time.
Teams will be collecting themselves here as we lose 4 players.
Internet problems, Mr. Gorman
Well,
at the house.
if it was the internet entirely, then everyone would presumably disconnect.
So whose fault is it?
I'm sure we can blame you, WinteR, somehow.
Wow.
I mean, Charlie's here. Charlie just walked in.
I mean,
and then it crashed.
I would
so.
love to have the ability to crash the PCs when I'm sitting down here with you. Wouldn't
Why
that-
would you love having that ability so much?
Yeah, then I would crash your Overwatch games when I'm just playing downstairs or what.
Thanks, WinteR. Appreciate the love, as always. But Puppy looking pretty calm. See a lot of talking from both teams here. They're getting reset back into the game. Looks like Pi wants a moment.
Have you ever seen Puppy not calm? No.
I've seen him pretty upset before. I mean, every competitive player gets upset at times.
Every Dota player gets angry. Except for Gorman, because he's such a saint.
I get very angry.
I know, right?
You are a big rager, though. Despite your seemingly calm and polite demeanor,
Well,
you have been caught flaming
I do not rage harder than you.
many a time at the BTS.
I do not slam my keyboard. I do not throw my mouse around.
No, you just slam your teammates
You're
verbally.
you're just lucky BTS is rich so they could provide you with more keyboards and mouse.
Someday your LAN cafe will provide us with more keyboards and mice.
Oh yeah, I wish.
But
Someday, Gorman, someday, if that ever happens,
somewhere over the rainbow.
that will be the day Gorman becomes a calm Dota player. Relax, team, we're doing fine.
You need to bring that competitive fire and intensity, WinteR. If you're too calm,
It's all but gone.
you lack passion.
It's all but gone.
Yeah, you've definitely lost your passion. You haven't even played a game of Dota in how many months now?
Shh.
Marriage is not an excuse.
Classified information, Gorman. Lord Dank, please.
So, all right, let's take stock of the game here, WinteR. 8-14 the score. Secret with a medium-sized lead around 29 minutes. You've already said you think Secret do not have the late game.
Yep, I said at tops, you do not want the game to go past 40 minutes. Like 35 to 40 minutes is like the maximum time for Secret's lineup against the empowered Ember and the Chronosphere. I mean, they're gonna have a refresher for that. I think that is as good as it gets for Secret's lineup. The refresher on Boba.
And then pretty much from there, it's kind of a
Yeah, if they do not
downward
get
spiral.
Rax
Yeah.
at least at that point, then it's gonna be difficult.
The other
Very
thing is Na'Vi
difficult.
they have the Ember, so they have that like mobility to keep the lanes pushed out pretty easily.
Yeah, they have to try and like siege with the refresher and try to force them to come in and just initiate with Ravage and make sure that he does not get caught in the Chronosphere. That is extremely crucial for them.
So teams are ready. Na'Vi on pauses. And we get back into it. Roshan's still lurking there to be claimed.
Illusion, I can sense the Illusion game going to happen.
Getting the
soon.
Yasha here. So we're
Man-
not going to see that Dagon. Or
Manta, Mirana, Manta, Draw Ranger, Disrupt. Good luck.
do you like that better than just like all ending on the single target bursts, like the Dagon build?
Not sure though, because Navi's heroes are very well equipped at dealing with illusions. They have Splinter Blast, they have the Enchant Form, Art Style,
Empower,
Empower,
Battle
Battle
Fury.
Free.
Yeah. Nice denied there by Envy though.
Well, it's something.
From
but
the trees. But it is still a tier 1 going down. A little map control lost here. The Secret Roche. Na'Vi not in position to contest this. They do get another tower though. Tier 2 going down top as well. That one not denied. I'll give this Aegis to Arteezy. So Envy will really have to mind his positioning.
the rune of many wins, Mr. Gorman would say.
This is the God's Rune. And the pub game has been won by just waiting for a double damage rune to spawn and backdooring. But we're not quite at that point.
Oh, pub games are won when you wait for your enemy to feed.
You know it's going to happen sooner or later. Here we go, though. Arteezy was out, and they were definitely thinking about a jump on him with the Wyvern lurking in the trees, but needed more heroes to try to back him up first. See a Diffusal Blade on General now. So item progression continues here.
Nami's doing the right thing, keeping all the lanes pushed up. Like every small little move you see Soneko doing here, keeping the creep wave away from their base is so crucial
Oh,
for
they're
his team.
hunting him, though. Elder Titan.
How?
He was like
How?
just a centimeter away from getting stomped there.
That's why you go to gym. Make sure that you're slim and fit.
Hey, the Wyvern has some pretty big wings, man. I would not call him slim, although I imagine
Yeah, I would
he is
not call
fit.
you slim.
Thanks, buddy.
Sorry. I'm rude.
I have a plate mail.
I'm not being tactful.
That you definitely are not. You guys are seeing the real WinteR. But we'll have to find out what the real Secret looks like here. Do they have that killer instinct? They showed it in game 1. They struggled in game 2, and here we are in game 3. Series tied up 1-1.
Did they get the refresher on Tide yet? Does he have it?
Don't
I
think
mean,
so.
okay, they're pushing without the refresher, I guess.
Committing for this.
Yeah, he's actually very close. Huh, I'm surprised they're not going to wait for it. Like, if you're getting a big item like that, usually you yell at your team, guys, relax. I need 100 gold.
Oh, Arteezy gonna get caught, skewered way back, leaps on out. The Stomp is there to cover his retreat, but if they can just finish him off once, get rid of this Aegis, it'll be a big win. He blinks out though, he does survive, the Greaves come through, but General on the case. He isolates Bulba, can they finish off the Tide? They're unsure of who to go for, they think once, twice about it, then they turn back. They want to bring Bulba down, the BKB's still there, the RP follow, Bulba gets off the Ravage though! It hits the whole team, it's too late, it looks like Envy now cursed, focus down, and Arteezy turned against him, the disruption to prevent the kill during curse, but one more imp will get the job done, and WinteR on the back line still finding kills, so they've gotten rid of the Aegis, they've killed off the Drow, they have managed to bring down that TIE Hunter, and they hold the base.
They should have waited for the refresher. Now it's gonna take some time before he gets it because he lost his life.
Oh, disruption here, and running the other way, General does get caught, shotgun down by Arteezy. Navi getting a little too big for their britches perhaps, they exit the base. And then Seneko gets found out, tries to juke. Can't juke Mr. 9K. Godlike. He has yet to die this game, WinteR.
They had like that false sense of security.
Is the Jinx here? I think the Jinx is here. He leaps out the self-shotgun for the save, but the chase continues from WinteR. Gonna burn him down soon. Sleight of fist. One more right click.
No.
Oh, God. It's Arteezy's turn to just feed away a gigantic pile of gold to Navi. 2 games in a row now where Secret held a very solid lead and it appears like it might be slipping away. No racks. Not good enough for them.
Well, this is something similar to what happened in the second game where they were sieging.
And they're looking for more, then they find Puppey as well. He's in far, Shockwave and dead. The collapse appears like it might be inbound.
This is real
and now
bad.
the refresher, but now to deal with it, a Magnus BKB as well.
Why didn't they wait for the refresher, Goblin? Why?
That's a question for smarter Dota minds than I.
Come on, give yourself more credit.
Oh, now you're trying to suck up to me. Get the hell out of here. You're dead to me, WinteR. This tower is dead to WinteR as well.
Please don't forget
One way or another.
to Malaysia in December.
Don't forget to come to your wedding, why, so you can flame the shit out of me. Oh no, thank you.
I promise I won't do that on that day. I promise.
But I think importantly for Navi, after winning that fight, they get back to work as far as getting these lanes pushed out. WinteR shoves in bottom, top lane, Dendi pushes that lane out. They're ensuring that Secret can't just go right back for a push and potentially take a lane of racks, and now they have all their big ultimates ready to go. So not sure if Secret want to be playing offensively right now.
I mean, they have to. The longer they wait, it's not going to get easier. It's just going to get harder and harder and harder. The more items Ember gets, the push just becomes very, very difficult.
This Ember is already hitting extremely hard. 300 plus damage before the crit.
Yep.
With
Unless
the cleave.
somehow they catch the Ember in the Ravage.
Oh, which
Okay.
they might! Yeah, he obliges here, blinks in. Bulba instantly rearms the Ravage. He popped the refresher immediately. He's going to TP home. Ember does have buyback. Can they force it though? 70 seconds.
Moonlight Shadow is the somehow they catch the
They need to go
Ember.
home here. Navi, they stuck around a bit too long and they might get punished. Seneko, pretty low. The Glimmer Cape comes through though. They're going to back off. They have not bought back on the Ember yet, but they really have to realize Secret's all coming down mid. I imagine they are going to retreat to the safety of their base and try to wait this one out. Seneko, first, I'll head towards the shop, but Secret just charging with the smoke. Again, Bulba did instantly refresh. So they'll have that second Ravage ready to go for this push. Plenty of mana to work with. Arrow
Man,
coming through. But
They have-
remember, Navi have quite a few BKBs here.
they have all the spam against that and Enchantress there, grabbing one of the illusions away. It's going to buy enough time for WinteR to respawn. So, all things considered, Navi going to be feeling lucky that they did not have to use the buyback on WinteR.
We haven't talked too much about Arts. Also,
Oh, no, Arrow!
Arrow on the General. They're going to put him under with the Wyvern, the Embrace, as well as the Glimmer Cape. Can they follow this up? They have slept him too, but so strong defensively, this Navi lineup on the high ground, that Secret don't even care to risk it. They settle for a tier 3 tower. They do not force the buyback.
Yep, Navi is starting to feel more in control in this game. I mean, I would even say they are in almost total control of the game.
That was with their one position carry dying with 70 seconds. Secret take only a tier 3, and he didn't buy back.
Yeah. They wish they had their refresher in that fight. You know, now Secret, I doubt Secret would get anything better than the previous opportunities to push the high ground.
And true to form, Na'Vi. They love to be aggressive in
Oh,
these situations, and they're gonna find a courier. Manta style recipe, not the biggest loss. Thought it had something more on it.
I mean, at this stage,
Didn't have the gold for the
every little bit is gonna be
Ultimate orb.
important to Secret. Like every small item, everything they can get.
Not to mention, that's more money for a Na'Vi lineup that uses gold especially well.
Man, Secret is in dire straits right now. They have to be able to use the double Ravage to win a significant team fight.
Well, they're waiting on that second Ravage to cool down, though. 50 seconds to go on the refresher. Na'Vi. Lurking bottom. Creep starting to hit the tier 2. They're playing this pretty safe, WinteR. They're not really in any hurry.
Yep, I think they kind of expect Secret to wait for the refresher, so Na'Vi themselves do not want to wait and fight at a bad timing, so they're choosing to fight. Most likely the safest place is their high ground, unless they can find a pick-off outside the base.
I mean, the two great things to have against the Tidehunter with a refresher are A, buyback, and B, BKBs. So I imagine
They
take a
have
look at Na'Vi.
they have the Moonlight Shadow into Ravage if they want to catch the Ember, so I mean
Yeah.
that was what
he's,
happened.
He's gonna have
last time.
buyback, so I guess it's all about not getting hit by the second one at that point.
I mean, if you're Secret, you have to try and get that pick off, go to the high ground, force the buyback, and back off safely. That is what you have to do.
It's a lot of steps on the checklist at this point.
Yeah, everything has to happen correctly for Secret to be able to acquire a significant objective.
Yeah, Na'Vi just so far really it seems like they just excel when they're in that hole, and then teams try to go high ground on them. We've seen so many games this tournament, like the one game where they lost Mega Creeps, then they played their best Dota of the match. So
I mean, in the team fights, the Chronos just always land on Boba. I mean, I'm not sure if we highlighted that significantly enough,
yeah,
but
it does counter the Kraken shell.
yeah, the fights were difficult for Secret when Boba is caught in the Chronosphere. And
Should he be sitting farther back, or is it just...
Yeah, he should.
Okay.
He should not be in the Chronosphere. Once he gets caught, Artstar is just going to lay in on him and he's just going to die very quickly.
Oh, General. He's in the middle of Secret right now. There's the Blake, the Ravage as well. Second one has been revved up. It is going to connect with the BKBs there for the Magnus, and he marches in. The RP finds Envy. They start shredding him. Envy's down. Bulba likely to be next, but they're looking for more of the Chrono now onto Pylite Die, looking for the third kill of this fight. They've gotten two, but they need that Bulba kill as well to really make it a sweet victory. Arteezy leaping away, so they've used both Ravages now. De'Ara's alive. Na'Vi not even losing a hero, I think. Did anyone fight back there?
Yeah.
Did I miss something?
Enchantress spot up.
Enchantress spot. I mean, hey, Na'Vi are happy with that.
I mean, they should be taking something big right now. Both Ravages use. Secret using both their buybacks.
But can they fight without... I mean, can they risk dying back without Ravages? The Chrono is going to cool down first. The RP as well. And the Winter's Curse not that far off. Arteezy trying to fend this one off. Secret are pretty much all in on this skirmish around the pit. Artstyle may end up dying back here. He will go down. The Enchantress out of the picture. General low. Will General die?
Where's
Has
the
Na'Vi
detection?
gotten impatient? He blinks out to safety. Can they find him in time? He TP's home.
Where's the detection?
Do they have anything?
Not again. They have no sentries, no gem, nothing.
They have sentries on Pi. 1 sentry right now. And he
Man,
he hears your cry and buys more. WinteR.
How many kills have they not gotten because they do not have sentries on their heroes?
Enough that he oh shit! Oh my god. Blink and you'll miss it.
Oh my
Diarra
God.
with the devastating crits. And now General looking to follow this up. He's got a Chrono ready to go. There is a disruption available, I believe. Pylai die there, and he purges General as well, but still, they're going to have a WinteR's Curse ready to go. The Aegis quickly cracked and looking for more. Rolling onto Puppey, trying to lock down Envy at the same time. The chains are there. He looks to run, but can he get out? The Gust comes through. He still retreats, but WinteR is going to continue the chase. Blink and look for the slide. The RP as well. Off with your head, Secret, say Na'Vi. Decapitating 3 heroes, getting rid of the Aegis as well. A brutal exchange for Secret, and Na'Vi, they're going to have their cooldowns ready relatively soon here. I think Secret will only have 1 Ravage for this push.
That's why I say you don't go late game against this Na'Vi lineup. That was just one
I
big
mean, press
slide of
W,
face.
hover your cursor over the pit, and then watch him melt. That's the power of the Ember at this stage. And he's got 4,500 gold, by the way, so WinteR is ready for another item soon. With the Empower now hitting for close to, in fact, a bit over 400 a pop before the crit. And he blinks in. He just slices up another. Pylai die, quickly turned into Sushi, and now Puppey getting blink skewered back. Dendi, no mercy for his old teammate. He does not get off the BKB here, though, and he gets ravaged, caught out a bit. Actually, looks like it's still cooling down. There's the chains on the Puppey, can't finish the job. General waiting for his chrono, 15 seconds, but Na'Vi, they get out. They will have a chance for those ultimates to become available, and Secret will be minus a Ravage.
Oh dear, this is right now Na'Vi's game to lose.
They're playing around these Secret cooldowns so well, and at this point it's so easy for the Ember to find pickoffs. It's starting to feel like Secret, the walls are closing
There's
in.
one more fight remaining in Secret. If they do not win the next fight, the game is just going to be over for them. There's one last chance for them with the next double Ravage. And even if they land a like a 2-man Ravage, I'm not sure if it's going to be enough. They need more than 2. The last fight they landed 2-man double Ravage, but they still lost that fight.
It feels like they need like 2 4-man Ravages right now. Or at the very least an Ember and then another important target.
Yeah, but if Ember plays his cards right, he should not get caught. So.
And again, he's going to have buyback even if he does. And likely a Remnant ready to go. So you've really got to find a way to kill him the second
If he
time.
doesn't want to get caught at all, he should get the BKB.
Yeah.
If he's
Feels
not,
like the safe option.
yeah, if he's not controlling the fights, there's no way the Drow can finish him off. Like he's just gonna be able to run around with the
The
Remnant.
Drow is not really that farmed. Envy's 14k net worth
He's
at this
getting
point.
Lincoln's or Skadi on the Ember.
Yeah, so just gonna tank up a bit. Yeah, we don't see that butterfly on the Drow. No true like pure DPS item. Just kind of cheap stats as Suniko.
So every ulti up.
Sneaks in, creeps up, gets the ward down under cover of smoke. Na'Vi looking for the killing blow here on Secret. And as they go for the D-ward, he strikes. Dendi, Blake, RP, Skewer on back, pile him in to knock him down. Can they get Arteezy as well? Good use of the shotgun, not gonna matter. Na'Vi cleaning up, and Secret on their
GG.
last legs. The chrono to boot. It actually holds Ditya in position. Not ideal. Bulba's gonna try for this, but even the curse is there to deny him as well. There will be no turnaround. Bulba ravages, but it's all for nothing as Na'Vi hold the high ground, and again they best Secret down the stretch as the game grows late. What a performance by Na'Vi.
Well, 2 games in a row, I think Secret had a timing lineup where they had the lead in the early game, but then when they were pushing, they made mistakes and they just got punished by Na'Vi. I'm not sure if Secret wants to go down the route of having a lineup that has to end a game at a specific timing. They might consider changing up their strats, going for more late game type of lineup.
You can see Puppey pondering this one. Pylai die, trying to collect himself, but
Man,
now Na'Vi has Secret on match point for at least 1 game.
Arteezy
possibly
had
2.
such a wonderful game, but still they couldn't close out.
You can't fault his individual play. He was on point.
Yeah.
So
What a game.
Secret, they'll try to collect themselves here, guys, but Na'Vi, they feel a bit better. It's a best of 5. Star Ladder I-League, Star Series Season 2 action will continue in just a moment.
E-Gaming Bets. We accept bets on